Right then, welcome back to the channel. João Gomes has emerged as a very, very strong rumour over the weekend. Now, they're saying there's a £44 million, potentially up to £50 million move happening in January. There's some context to that I think you have to think about. Wolves are going down, right? If I'm anybody related to Manchester United at the moment, I am pitching up outside Wolves training grounds and handing out business cards, seeing if anyone fancies it. João Gomes is one that I think could do bits, but is he actually what we need? You know, is he the sort of player that can take us to the next level? Because I think he's a very specific sort of player. So let's get into it a little bit. Now, he was developed at Flamengo. He broke into their first team, played 80 matches, and then went to Wolves. At Wolves, he's had well over 100 appearances for them now in all competitions. He's got 6 league goals this season. He scored a brace in a 2-1 away win last season against Spurs, which was a bit of a breakout game for him. He kind of hit the headlines and caught everyone's attention with that performance. He's been a regular for Brazil for about a year or so now, which tells you that he's got something which is catching people's eye. At Wolves, he is essentially a ball-winning 8 or a 6 in a double pivot. He probably plays the most alongside Lamina, and he can play in a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, which he played last year, or 4-3-3 sort of variants. He is tasked with covering the ground in central areas. He is tasked with aggressive pressing and counter-pressing, screening that back line, and then pretty simple progression and link play. He is not a chance creator, and I don't even know if he's that much of a ball progressor, to be honest with you. Now, the role that he plays, conceptually at least, maps out into what Amorim asks for in terms of the double pivot. 2 midfielders in a 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1 that cover ridiculous amounts of space, do a lot of the defending, transitional work, and don't really have a million different passing options. They're quite functional. You're not asking them to be massive ball progressors. And I think as my understanding of the 3-4-3 develops, we see it a lot more coming through those wide centre halves. They're the people that are asked to play the ball forward into that forward 5 a little bit. Now, if we look at the data, defensively is where you get the value from him. He is all about volume and efficiency when it comes to defending. Now, last season, he was marked out as one of the league's most tenacious tacklers. In the 23-24 season, he had 43 tackles won, which put him in the highest sort of brackets. He was actually only behind Vinicius Souza and Paulinho when it came to tackles won. That was elite company. You know, you're talking some very high level destroyers, if you like. And at that point of the season as well, you were looking at 511 total pressures, which put him 7th amongst all Premier League midfielders. 181 pressures in the defensive third, which made him 2nd. 267 in the middle third, which was 7th. 20 possessions won in the final third. He was tied 12th for that. And that's not bad considering that he is such a deep-lying sort of defensive midfielder. He was also among the best in the league for counter pressures, so second balls. Pressures within 2 seconds of a loss of possession. Turnovers created from those pressures. That's exactly the sort of pressing machine that you're looking for in there. That's kind of what Casemiro brings to this team. And I think they've looked at this team and gone, we are in utter disarray if we don't have a Casemiro. Now, you fast forward it into this season, you look at the data from him from this season, 12 matches, 926 minutes so far, no goals, no assists, 31 tackles, 11 interceptions, 56 recoveries, 27 fouls, 4 yellow cards. 2.62 fouls per 90. Which is quite high. Wolves haven't had any ball, and they've been objectively shite this season. 1v1, you're looking at 81 tackles and 133 ball regains. That places him very, very, very high for getting the ball back. In terms of the percentiles, Defensive contributions as a whole, 91st percentile. Aerial duels one is only at 25th percentile, and I will come back to that a little bit later, because when we're trying to replace Casemiro, which is what I think we're trying to do here, that's a worry. He is a high-volume presser and tackler. He has high work rate, constantly seeking out duels. He also has a high foul count and a relatively high amount of cards because he plays right on that red line. Very reminiscent of Casemiro at times, actually. Ground duels, he's about 48% success, 39 won, 42 lost. That's decent, but he's not dominant in them. The value in him is in the volume. He is just getting stuck in, if you like. He is relentless. And I think he chooses the moments to press quite intelligently, even though you go, well, I mean, you just said that he loses more than he wins. Yeah, but sometimes even just putting pressure on can affect what happens next. He's very supportive of teammates when they step out. He stays on his feet and doesn't slide in, which doesn't really make sense when you think about how many fouls he gives away, but he doesn't slide in. He's a little bit clumsy at times, but he doesn't really slide in. And he doesn't have this ability in the air that Casemiro does. So he's not really that Palhinha sort of airborne destroyer. In a system where your double pivot has to cover the box entries, that does worry me a little bit. They have to screen the centre-halves from aerial plays. They have to be able to deal with crosses, and United really do need someone that's good at set plays. On the ball, he's got places where he helps and places where he doesn't. I think you need nuance with this. No goals, no assists. He's had 7 shots in 12 matches, which isn't a lot. His shooting accuracy is around 14%. It's almost irrelevant because he takes very few shots. That Spurs brace was very much the exception, and definitely not the norm. Touches is around about a 76th percentile for Premier League midfielders. Chance created around about the 41st. He just isn't someone that's going to get you goals. He does see a good amount of ball for his team, but he is not the primary creator, progressor, or shooter. I think he works so hard on his pressing, and I think he's actually clean with that. He's a tenacious ball-winning midfielder. If I had to liken him to a previous midfielder United have had, it's probably Ander Herrera, more so than it would be even a Casemiro, because of the aerial. He isn't that good, like we said, with his chance creation. He's comfortable with short and medium sort of range passing, and especially under pressure. He'll always find a teammate in that, but he doesn't really break the line. He doesn't really drive with it. He tends to recycle it, and he tends to set a tempo with it, rather than... You're not going to see him dropping a shoulder, turning a corner, breaking a line and moving the team forward like that. No, he's not Carrick in that sense. He's not Busquets. He's not Jorginho in that sense. He is controlled, but it's not elite with it. He's happy to carry the ball a few metres out of pressure and then release it, but he's not beating people when he does that. Again, he's very much about stability and kind of control, and I don't mind that in a number 6, to be honest with you. So what does he actually do for Wolves? He covers a huge amount of horizontal and vertical distance. He shields on transitions, which is something that we've spoken about, especially when wing backs bomb on, and with playing for Wolves, he's going to be used to that sort of thing. He steps out aggressively to press opposition, pivots and fullbacks. He can trigger and counter press when there's a turnover. I think he's got this natural appetite for tackling. I think he's got this natural appetite for a duel. I think he sets the tone, if you like, which I know there's not really a bit of data for that, but there's something in that. And from what I can see, he is a player that's relentless, fearless, and just got this willingness to work. I don't think you would call him world class. I'm not even sure you would call him top tier. But I think he's quite quietly effective at what he does. And if United require depth, and United absolutely require depth, I think he's probably a pretty good one. He's all about team first. I think he's very competitive. And I think he's obviously already got a relationship with the likes of Cunha. He's got Premier League experience. And £44 million, it feels very gettable because Wolves is a sinking ship. People are going to be looking for any way out of there. He wouldn't have to kick up too much of a fuss, and Wolves probably know they wouldn't keep him. They probably need to start preparing for life in the Championship right now. You know, I almost think they could phone in the rest of the season because even if they were good, they're not going to survive. Does he fit what we're looking for under Amorim? I think United's system, trying to be structured, rehearsed passing patterns, building up through that three at the back, playing into the feet of the forwards, laying it back into a midfielder and then hitting a through ball up, back and through. The team works hard to create overloads using the wing-backs and those inside forwards. The double pivot is demanding. They've got to be positionally disciplined. They've got to offer angles in the build-up, and they've got to protect the defence and cover wide when those wing-backs step on. So the midfield is often left exposed, and it's light because of the shape that we create with the ball. That 3-2-5 really does ask a lot for the pivot. And that's where United struggled, I thought. Mainu hasn't looked like a good fit for it. Ugarte looks a shell of his former self. And it's somehow Casemiro and Bruno that have ended up looking like the right thing. But even they are not a natural fit for this. Gomez is, or is more of a fit for it. Premier League proven, athletic midfielder that can partner Bruno or a more technical six. I think this is a transfer that makes sense. But as I've sort of been looking at this as a transfer rumour and as something that could happen, I've been thinking, okay, what next? What are United trying to do here? Who are United trying to bring in here? What's the thinking? What's the strategy? Because to me, if you bring in Gomez and he's not the progressor that you think, and the links to Elliot Anderson, I hope I'm not projecting here. I hope these are actual links with Elliot Anderson. If you was looking at Gomez and Anderson, I go, could that work as a midfield too? It could. In a post-Bruno, post-Casemiro Manchester United. And is that why the links to Semenyo make sense? Because Semenyo is he's a winger, right? He ain't a wing-back, he is a winger. Now, if you was going to go Ahmad, Semenyo, Cunha, Sesko and Bumo, that is 5 forward players. You're going to need 5 defensive players to split the team up. Anderson could be the one that does the progressing alongside Gomez, who literally just walks around with a mop and bucket all day like a janitor. It ain't pretty, but there's a chance that it's damn effective. And even at the worst case, he brings a lot of depth to the squad in that position. You're seeing that with Arsenal this year. That depth is required. You do need 16, 17 players to get an 11 out. I'm here for it, me. I got no qualms about the price. I got no qualms about the player. I think he adds a lot of depth. I don't think he's world class. I don't think he's the one that takes you into title winning. But I think he makes us better. And that's all you want out of a signing, right? Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.